G'day guys, ZiggyD here with a bit of a news roundup for Path of Exile, a quick catch up of what's happening on the beta and with the 3.0 expansion. Background footage is just from the Mayhem race, so there won't be any spoilers in this video. By the way, if you're not playing the Mayhem race, you should definitely give it a go, whether or not you care about racing. It's one of the most fun events that I've played so far, and it's a blast for playing solo self-found in particular. It's kind of like that Craftsman League we've always wanted, because of all the boxes with extra currency and all the Exile loot. It's been an absolute blast, highly recommend. Anyway, back to the news. The release date of 3.0 has been tentatively set for the first week of August, which means about a month of beta testing remains. From talking to Rory quite a bit about it, there seems to be like there's a lot of balance changes and new content and things like that still yet to be added to the beta. So although I've only gotten some details on like a few of the next upcoming things and a fair bit of detail in the next beta patch, there's still a lot of stuff that they plan on doing. In related news, ZiggyD is partnering with CHRONOGG today for a 24-hour sale on beta keys for $10. If you didn't want to pick up a supporter pack but wanted to get into the beta, then this gives you another option. I've been an affiliate with Chrono personally for a while now, and they work directly with indie companies for their sales. There's no dodgy third-party reselling or anything like that going on. A bunch of PoE streamers will have affiliate links for this sale, I'm pretty sure, so if you want to support someone in particular, make sure to buy through their links so that they get a cut. My link is in the description below, should you desire. So we've gotten a lot of detail on the next beta update, which is set for Monday, and this includes some major new additions and changes. Firstly, Act 8 is going to be releasing with the next patch. ZiggyD dev Carl said, the difference between San in Part 2 and San in Part 1 is like comparing night and day, so I'm looking forward to seeing how much this act changes things up. I won't really get into what we know is coming with the act yet, because as I said, I want this video to be spoiler free, but I'm in particular looking forward to at least one of the boss fights, which I think is going to be really interesting. So with the addition of Act 8, we'll finally have access to all 4 of the labyrinths on the beta as well, so we'll be able to actually fully test builds. We've been kind of in this awkward limbo for a while now, where we could only do 2 labyrinths, and there's a bit of an awkward jump to get to endgame from Act 7, so now with Act 8 added, we should be able to jump into endgame much more nicely, and also actually create proper builds with all of the labyrinth points. On a bit of an interesting side note that I wanted to mention here, a later beta update, maybe the next one after this one, is said to include changes to make the earlier labyrinth runs shorter, much to many people's joy, I'm sure. Another thing that's coming in this next patch is a new tutorial for the game that teaches new players about skill gems, supports, and signing passives. It's possible that we'll be getting a support gem right from the beginning as well, which would align with the change to the starter weapon now being a 2-link. One of the support gems that was data mined for the beta, but not actually released along with all the rest of the support gems, was a lesser reduced mana, so maybe that's what they give us just to showcase linking support gems to skill gems. Even if that's just the case, that'll still be a really good thing for new players. Hopefully we get something a little more interesting in terms of support gems than lesser reduced mana, but even if it's just that, it's still going to be a nice improvement for the game to have that tutorial. Now the next patch on the beta is also going to be including a ton of balance changes to ailments. A lot of the new supports are getting reduced down a bit, which was pretty expected, as when they were first released, they were at pretty high levels. I remember when they were first data mined, I was like, these can't be real support gems, these seem like someone's wish list. They look way too powerful. So that's not at all unexpected that a lot of those are getting nerfed. The Perfect Agony Keystone will also be getting tested at a heavily reduced effectiveness of 30% crit multiplier converted to apply to ailments and a 30% hit damage reduction. For comparison, it's now currently 75% of crit multiplier converted and 25% hit damage reduction, so it's getting more of a penalty and it's converting less crit multi. Carl said that this is because at its prior level it was going to be too mandatory for any ailment build, and I would agree with that, though I'm concerned that at this new value, that Perfect Agony is only going to see use on assassins, you know, getting those crit, bleed, and poison nodes. From talking to Rory about some of these changes, it seems that this is only a small step in the balance process that's happening for ailments and going to be occurring over the entire course of the beta. It looks like ZiggyD's intention is to really try and bring ailments down to a level they're comfortable with, and in a recent post they said that they're almost there, and then ensuring that there's like solid diversity amongst the options. It sounds like they potentially have some bigger changes planned, with potential reworks for bleed mechanics, or at least the puncture skill, from our discussions with Rory. It's kind of at a bit of an awkward state at the moment because the nerfs seem a bit too much to the Ailment support skill gems and things like that, and the Perfect Agony Keystone and all that. It seems too much. Like, ailments already seem like they're getting gutted a bit, and then having these things nerfed down a bit seems a bit too aggressive, and it feels like ailments are not going to be very good, right? Which is concerning. But it really does feel like we're missing some pieces of the puzzle, that there's still more things that need to happen and other changes that need to happen for us to compare ailments to, in order for us to kind of gauge where they're at and actually get a sense of how good these changes are. So for the most part, I am trying to refrain from judging these changes just yet, because I think they need more context. There's actually a lot of speculation that the ailment changes are a sign that more traditional hit damage based builds might also be getting brought down to match. While it does seem likely, ZiggyD hasn't specifically said anything about this yet. It is pretty safe to say that one of their big goals is to make endgame boss fights in particular, and just in general content, more challenging. Reducing some of the unbound damage of certain setups, especially, you know, those double dipping poisons and stuff that really trivialized bosses, and then boosting boss life. That's a change that's already in the beta. All map bosses have a lot more life now. And these changes certainly suggest this kind of like trend of trying to make some of this stuff a little bit more difficult, which is potentially a pretty good thing. It does certainly lead me to expect that we might be getting some more nerfs or changes to some of the other things, some of the more egregious examples of trivializing sort of builds, because without some changes in those regards, we're going to have ailments at what is considered to be a good level of damage, and then we're going to have things like barrage builds, you know, just those upfront hit builds that are just going to be doing huge amounts of damage by comparison. So, you know, like they nerfed Hand Wisdom in Action a little bit, for example. That's happening, but there's still some really strong hit damage based builds, and without those seeing some changes as well, then ailments are definitely going to be relegated to the I just want to play something different and a little bit edgy sort of bin, and I hope that's not the case. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see some more changes and what happens over the course of the coming month, and it sounds like there's still quite a lot to come. So in addition to all the news on the next beta update, we've also been getting some teasers on things coming later in the beta, the most exciting of which has been the new performance improvements coming over from ZiggyD's work on console development of the game. Kind of funny. Xbox has requirements that games not drop below 30 FPS during gameplay, and we all know that sometimes Path of Exile does just that. As a solution, ZiggyD are implementing dynamic resolution scaling options to both Xbox and PC versions of the game. So, when a lot of crazy stuff happens on screen, instead of your frame rate dropping and sometimes coming to a standstill, the resolution will dynamically scale down as needed, leaving your frame rate intact essentially. In my opinion, this is one of the biggest performance improvements since Lockstep, because when your resolution drops, the game is still fully playable, while frame rate drops have a big impact on your ability to play. From a general playability standpoint, it also makes a lot of sense because your eyes notice frame drops a lot more than they notice temporary resolution drops. Like when there's a bunch of spam on screen anyway, you kind of can't even tell that the resolution's dropped that much. The best thing is that these features will be implemented as optional, with sliders for frame rate targets, so if you don't like them, you can continue as is now. Or you can do something like say, I don't want my frame rate to drop below 45, if that does happen, or if that's going to happen, then the resolution scales down instead, but I'm okay with my frame rate fluctuating above 45. You can set up options like that, it sounds like. So this is going to be great for more crazy builds like Cosprees and Cast on Crit, but it's also a boon to hardcore players for when things get crazy, which is when you absolutely do not want your frames disappearing on you. It's also likely going to be a feature that effectively enables party play for people on lower end computers, which may have been impossible with constant frame drops in the past. Anyway guys, that's it for this news roundup. I haven't done videos like this in a while, so let me know if it's something you enjoy or find useful, and I'll consider doing more. With the Chrono sale today, I thought it might be a good time to do one like this and test the waters a little bit, and potentially get some of those sweet affiliate dollars, but I'm keen to do some more regular news roundups and opinion pieces like this on changes happening in the beta and so on, and you know, in the future, if you guys are keen to see them, so let me know. But anyway, that's it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.